Testing, mic check, testing. Are we live? Are we live? Testing. Are we live? I ended up being late because something came up right before I wanted to start streaming, so I wasn't sure if I would actually be able to get started on the scheduled time, despite the fact that I was already late. So hopefully I'm live now. I'm trying to pull up my chat right now because I have to use like so many different separate programs in order for this to work. But am I live? Testing. Oh my goodness. Why do I always have to? Okay. Testing. Are we live? Testing. Hopefully I'm live now. Hopefully. Where are we? Boom. Hopefully I'm live. Am I live? Hello, I'm live. Okay. I finally see your chat now. I don't see it on my little thingy mabob, so I'm not on my like external thing, so I'm not actually sure if it's working. Jesus. Is there a way I can? Sorry about this, T. Sorry. I'm like slow to start up. I'm really trying here. I'm trying to figure out how I can have like my chat bot set up correctly, but it's just not cooperating right now. Come on. Okay, hold on. Test. Do you see this? Do you see that? Do you see my test? Oh my goodness. Okay. Streamer bot died on me. I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry for the delay. I'm figuring a lot of stuff out. Test. Whatever. If this fixes it, then I'll be happy with it. Restarting. I'm so unprepared today. Oh my god. Yeah, that should be fine. And before I've just downloaded horrendous virus onto my thing. Okay, can you see me? T, would you be able to type something real fast? I just want to make sure that it's my whatchamacallit is working, my chat system is working, so I can read it on screen, because I can't read it right now. I can only see my test. I'm not sure if it's picked up like your first words, so I want to make sure like your text is showing up. Oh my goodness, so we've been live for 5 minutes and all I've been doing is trying to set up something else. Okay. Well, we'll see. I guess I'll just run it from here. What would be the intro to this video? I haven't even thought about it. I knew for a fact that what I wanted to do was to shotgun these 5 beers. I've never tried shotgunning beers before. I wasn't really ever into beer. I wasn't ever really into beer, but I wanted to shotgun these beers just because like it sounded fun once I actually started learning how to drink and finding a beer I actually like, which is Blue Moon. Blue Moon is my favorite beer, and I could drink this every day before I can drink this every day without ever getting tired of it. So I wanted to see I wanted to see if I could drink 5 of them in rapid succession. Okay, I have an important question before you get inebriated. Do deers have bones or not? I know it sounds ridiculous, but I need a second opinion. What? Is this... I'm not entirely sure what you're asking. It's an animal, right? Unless you're like the Shiko noko 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 Ostanda. Is it something to do with that? Does it look like she doesn't have bones in that like theme song? Shika noko 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 Ostanda. It's a clear question, yes or no. I guess yes. I feel like I'm being baited into something. Her sister was an octopus. I know it sounds weird. Okay. I hope I didn't just get baited into something. I really am not so sure what's going on with that kind of question, but thank you. Nice to meet you, Gosh Plosh. Where was I? Beers. Yeah. How did I want to start this? So your setup looks awesome. Blue Moon is a good choice. Yeah, I love Blue Moon. Like I said, like Blue Moon is my favorite beer. I could drink it every day without getting tired of it. Obviously, I don't drink it every day because it's unhealthy to drink that much alcohol. But I quite enjoy Blue Moon. It's not the best flavored beer in my opinion, but I do think it's not the best flavored beer in my opinion. I tend to prefer stouts or like what are they called? Stouts and what are the other dark color beers called? Porters. Porters and stouts a little better, but those are so rich that they're too rich for me. I think I would get tired of them really fast. I can only have them like once in a blue no pun intended, once in a blue moon, because they're just so rich that like it's hard to have multiple. These are so inoffensive that I can drink a ton of it and just never get tired of it. It tastes good, but it's not so intense that it will ever get me super. I would never get tired of it. It's just mild. So, I'm happy to have found Blue Moon. And there's a funny story of why I have these cans and what inspired this stream. I simply just wanted to restock. And then so I went to the grocery store, and then they have like the bottles, like, you know, regular beer bottles of Blue Moon, and then they have the cans. And I realized that the cans are, does it say on here? Yeah, here it is. The cans say 12 fluid ounces. the bottles are 12 fluid ounces and you get 12. The cans are 12 fluid ounces and you get 15 for less money. So I'm like, what the hell? The bottles are a scam. So I decided to get the cans instead. And then I thought, well, okay, I'm gonna have an excess of beer. What if I tried shotgunning them? Because I've always wanted to try shotgunning them. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. This will be a little bit of a react sort of stream because I'm gonna have to teach myself how to do it in front of you guys, but I hopefully it will be fun for you. In fact, should have it up already, right? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, hopefully one of these videos is good. Hopefully one of these videos doesn't get me banned, but here we go. This one would probably be easy enough.
This is shotgunning a beer. Now, this can be turned into a game very easily.
What the hell?
You simply
do I actually need a knife?
On lack of spillage, gulp speed, and the time it takes to shotgun the beer.
I've seen Tom Brady shotgun a beer in like literally less than a second. It's insane.
You tilt it sideways.
So tilt the beer can
take
sideways.
a sharp object, a screwdriver, or a set of keys, or whatever you have at home.
Okay.
And
this seems highly dangerous.
Here's the mouthpiece. You want to puncture a hole.
So puncture a hole
on the opposite side, about a quarter of the way up.
Okay.
So we've got our hole. Now, you're gonna tip the can up, put your mouth over the hole, pop the can, tilt it upright, and suck all the beer out.
Seems easy enough.
That's how intense this is.
Oh
god. Fall over.
What the hell? Oh, dude, you are not Tom Brady. Tom Brady killed this challenge.
That's how you shotgun a beer.
Okay. So that is how we shotgun a beer. Alright, so we have to puncture a hole somewhere around here. I've seen another video where you can do this with your key. That's why I prepared my key, but I don't think I have the thing. So I puncture here, I create a hole, and then I just crack it open and try to suck it up as fast as possible. I think I can manage that. Let's see. I should mention ahead of time too, like this, half of this stream is this, half of this is I did want to talk about some shit. It's just going on both in my own life and both in the IRL. So this is kind of an excuse to get drunk and be able to talk about that, but also like I genuinely hope I can manage shotgunning a beer. So let's see how we can do this. Oh god. Okay. Hole. Alright. Oh god, I'm actually kind of scared. Oh, fuck. Oh my god, I spilled like half of it. Okay, I'm gonna have to wipe that up. Ugh. That was just a belch. Holy crap. The thing that's difficult about this isn't necessarily all the stuff that's flowing into your mouth so rapidly. It's the fact that like it's so bubbly and so it hurts. It like burns, gain all like the carbonation into the back of your throat so quickly. Oh god. Ugh. I've never felt so belchy because it's like you're like pre-shaking the can basically when you drink it that fast. Holy moly, that was unpleasant. That was fun though. That was fun, but unpleasant. Woo. Here, okay, I really need to wipe this down, but I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna need more than one towel. Okay, well, that's one down, four to go. Okay, first things first. Oh man, mostly I just want a place to vent about how shitty my work week was. I legit wanted to kind of just call off a day just because it was just so. It was so busy. The work was so stressful and whatnot. One point I was genuinely thinking not streaming, but then I realized that this place legit is where I feel like I can unwind, where I can vent, where I can talk to you guys. And so like I thought it would be a fun little thing to just be able to I was doing the whole Valhalla thing, and that was fun. Actually, that was really fun. I'm glad I was able to do that. But man, it was kind of stressful, like dedicating that much time, that much streaming time to content, when sometimes I do want to have some of these more casual streams to talk to you guys. And so I did want to dedicate this day, and probably in the future many other days, is to just like having a more casual type of stream. There will still be like YouTube video oriented. Like I'm doing this under the guise of shotgunning beers, but it's I just really wanted to have a moments with you guys to be able to just honestly vent and talk to you guys a little bit. And it feels nice to be able to do this. I have this weird thing where like and I actually talked to a VTuber about this before. Like I dread going live because I'm just so scared. Like, what if no one shows up? What if I'm not entertaining? What if I'm this or that? And then I just feel like I really want to be able to be the best VTuber I can be. I really do want to be as good as I can make myself. But also like I know I just need to play fast and loose, and I just need to like be natural, be myself, and the people will come if they want to support me, and I appreciate anyone who comes by that does so. And when I remember that, and then when I really get into the flow of things, when I start actually talking, it does make me feel better. It does make me feel good. So I'm just happy, and especially especially when I was doing that other stuff, I'm like, oh god, what if this isn't good? What if this video ends up flopping? What if I end up flopping and like I'm just not doing a good job, and so the video was never gonna be good? So like having a casual stream like this, it sounds weird to say, but this is the first stream where I felt excited to stream. I was legit looking forward to the stream. One, because I get to drink so much delicious Blue Moon. But then two, because I feel like I can finally unwind, especially after what's been a pretty difficult week for a lot of reasons. Honestly, too, like weirdly, it's seeped into the VTubing sphere, and there was that big news going on with Fauna and whatnot. People are being tiring about that, if I'm being honest. Like I've seen people like talking about that too, and I just feel like there is a weird sort of mentality going on, and I feel like I'm on the wrong side of it because people are like super open about things that I feel like you shouldn't be open about. I'm unclear how much I should be able to say out loud, because there is a balance that needs to be strict, right? Because it's like it's basically what I'm talking about is open secret type stuff, right? So like you know, there's a specific open I mean, how explicit can I get about this? Roommates. Roommates is the preferred term, as I recall from classic VTuber AK. I'm really iffy about people being so open about roommates when they don't make the connection themselves, right? Like, I treat separate identities on the internet as separate identities. You know what I mean? So like, if let's move this completely out of VTubing for a sec. Let's say just a music artist, some like, let's say a guitarist, post their covers online and they do whatever they want to do, and that's one of their channels, and then their other channel is like a gaming channel, just like a legit, they hang out with their chat, they play video games and whatnot. Even if they show their face on both sides of it, even if they do both of those things, unless they make the connection themselves, it tends to rub me the wrong way when people treat all of that as the same, as just the same thing, and like completely merge it. And obviously there is going to be overlap within those communities, and that's fine, and there can be some in-jokes on that metric. It's the sort of thing where people are super open about it on like the wrong side, where it's like, okay, you're talking about his gaming career on his guitar channel, or you're talking about his guitar stuff on his gaming channel. Like, if he's, and when he's trying to keep it separate, like, oh, okay, let's say Johnny Shredman on the guitar, or on his guitar channel, never mentions his gaming thing. Like, literally all he does is post covers, and he never like really shows his face or like talks or anything. He just plays his guitar. And then let's say Ninja Strike Master, I don't know, I'm making up usernames, is the gamer, and he does all this gaming content because he loves a certain like JRPG or something, and just always talks about that. That's a thing. If they never bring it together, it feels wrong to me to intentionally do that unless they do it, because it just feels kind of disrespectful in a way. It feels like you're doing, I don't know. It's hard to explain properly, and that's why it's difficult, because in some ways too, like you can't fully acknowledge them as two separate entities, but also they've separated those identities for a reason, right? And so you should respect that, right? Like Johnny Shredman is not a gaming channel, and Ninja Strike Master is not a guitar channel, right? A guitar cover channel, right? And then so like if you're trying to if you're bringing these two things together, or when the owners of those channels aren't doing that, then it's like it's not a it's not right to me. It just isn't right to me. Like let them make the connection before you do, right? That's sort of how I feel about it, at least. Yeah. I guess that's all I have to say. We'll probably have a different topic between each one. So the next topic is going to be a lot more lighthearted because it's going to be about a hilarious thing I've been wanting to yap about, except I have no one to yap about it with. Okay. Man. Is it time? Do we have to time each of these, or am I going to have to... Oh man, the first one was so hard. I'm genuinely wondering if like I should like try chugging one normally and then shotgunning another one to see how fast the difference actually is, right? So, all right. Let me just check something. Ah. Okay. The last one took like several seconds too. Like it took like a full 10-15 seconds. I don't know how people do it. Fucking Tom, like what happened, the reason I bring up Tom Brady, if you don't know who he is, he's considered the greatest American football player to ever live. He only retired recently. And he had this thing where he like was chugging beers with some TV show host, and to show he can do it, and they big old tall glasses of beer. And then like legit, like, okay, they challenged him, and then they start, and legit it's a Tom Brady just inhales the beer like it, like that much, gone in literally a second, literally like less than 1 second. And I'm like, how did you do that? How do you suck up that much beer or that fast? With this much beer, or, well, I guess these are all the same size. With this much beer, I could only suck up like I could only suck it up in like what? It'd take me like 20 seconds, and to like spill half of it too. Insane. I to this because like people shotgun beers and make a challenge of it, and people like down these mothers in like as we saw in that video, 6 seconds. But man, I don't get it. All right. Oh my god, that one sprayed a lot. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is so intimidating. Okay. Oh god, there's no more. Oh my god, that's so difficult. it's you just have to keep on sucking, and there's no time to breathe. Oh my goodness. Ugh. 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 You know, I have thought about making this into a karaoke, and I actually had the idea before, which was, ugh, excuse me. I wanted to try. I wanted to try some kind of drunk karaoke. You can probably hear it from my voice. I'm not a very good singer. I've been trying to practice my voice, but I do think I need to get a legit vocal coach. And I've promised myself that I take lessons from a vocal coach. One, it's very expensive. Two, it's very committal, and I'm not sure I can give the proper amount of commitment I can to singing, given just my time constraints. But like, I would like to start. I would like to sing. I would like to do more normal VTuber stuff. Like I do want to play some games at some points. I do want to like do karaoke and sing. And something I've actually found that I love most are like the VTubers who aren't the Suisse's, the Inas, the like Miori Celestas, the Narissa Ravencrofts of the world, or like they're like these amazing singers, and like every single karaoke stream I'm gonna put karaoke in air quotes because like they practice the shit out of it. They go kind of hard on it. It's crazy how good all these talents can sing. But I found lately that I really like the karaoke's where it's very clear, just very clear that they're either one, unpracticed, or two, like not really that good. Like maybe they are still pretty darn good, but they're not like the godly levels that like the top tier VTubers are. And they just sing because they love singing. They just sing because it's fun for them. And that's the whole point of karaoke, is that it's supposed to be scuffed. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be greatly imperfect. It's supposed to be very casual. And like I feel like a little facetious putting Miori in that list, actually, because Miori does actually do a fair amount of like just like impromptu karaoke, if I recall correctly, and she just does like really fun karaoke, fun and funny. She had one recently which was all sorts of like lewd songs to finish off NNN, and it didn't go the direction I was expecting. It was all like comedy songs, and I really liked it. But yeah, at some points I did want to sing, and I actually had a funny idea for the theme. So I was thinking about like songs that mention some kind of drink. So the reason that it was going to be this stream is because there's a song called One Too Many from Luke Combs, and it's literally about a guy just getting drunk on beer one night, and then like shotgunning beers and having a good time. And the chorus is like, there's no stopping me once I get going, put a can in my hand, man, I'm wide ass open. And then just like the whole thing is about drinking beer, and like even the end of the chorus is like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 too many, and the countdown's on when the first beer hits me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 too many, and then it's just like it's referring it's like an awesome double pun of like the countdown of a time bomb, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 boom, but then and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 too many. As in like he had 5 beers and now he's like drop dead drunk. And so that would be fun. I was also thinking like Bakamita. So I would sing a song like Beer by Real Big Fish while drinking a beer. I would sing Bakamitai while drinking a whiskey-based cocktail, a spirit-forward whiskey-based cocktail like an old-fashioned or something. I would do, let's say, "On the Rocks" by Ken Ashcorp, and then oh my god, I'm so belchy today. Oh god, I'm so belchy. Oh my god, all the carbonation from these beers is hitting me. The carbonation of these beers is hitting me more than the than the alcohol. Ken Ashcorp's "On the Rocks" mentions both scotch and brandy. Man, I wish I can remember the song off the top of my head. Actually, I love Ken Ashcorp. I can sing. Well, I mean, I can't sing, but I know the lyrics pretty well to like a handful of his songs. But I only recently like discovered how many alcohol references are in "On the Rocks," and I'm like, ooh, another one for my set list if I ever do a drunk karaoke stream. What other songs were there? There's oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure I would put this one in there, but like "Beautiful Crazy," he mentions wine. Her day starts with the coffee and ends with the wine. I should write these down. I should really write these down. I have the idea in my head, and I've written down the idea. Drunk karaoke, where the songs are mentioned. I should actually write down songs that have of alcohol references to them, so I can know to make these. Like, okay, "On the Rocks" has brandy and scotch. Beer is obviously about beer. "One Too Many" is about beer. "Baka Mitai" has a strong whiskey like visuals. So yeah, there's I know there's other songs I've heard that have of other alcohol references to them. I'm just looking at my bottles over here and like trying to rack my brain about like which ones that I could do. There's definitely a song about absinthe, but I've never heard about it. I just know about it from How to Drink. When he did his episode on absinthe, he talked about a song that talked about absinthe, but in like a really facetious way, like leaning into the legends about absinthe, about how it's hallucinogenic and how it does this and that, and it's like it definitely doesn't. I want to do an episode of. I want to do like a whole series. Is called is all blank the same? So it's like, oh, is all rum the same? Is all whiskey the same? Is all vodka the same, etc. And I wanted the absinthe episode, if and when I ever do that series, was gonna be called "This Drink Used to Be Banned." Like, I'm gonna clickbait the shit out of it, because it's like the story about absinthe and how it was illegal for a while and the crazy shit people thought it did to people is actually really interesting. And then so I would like to talk about that. But people straight up thought it was a hallucinogen, right? Hallucinogen? Something like LSD, basically. And then like if you drink it, you go crazy, you have hallucinations, and so you'll like it's more of a drug than it is an alcohol. It's not poisonous either. Like, people think it's poisonous. It's not. I mean, all alcohol is poison, but it's like a manageable amount of poison. But yeah. Yeah. Oh man, the more I talk about it, the more fun that would be. I'll have to start writing down songs, because I do want to try that one day. I guarantee no one will want to watch it because I'm not good at singing, but it just sounds super fun to me to be able to do that kind of thing. That wasn't even the thing I wanted to talk about. It was just something I started thinking about, and it's like, oh, I should talk about this. But there is the main thing I want to talk about is something I'm sure none of you would care about, but it was so wild and weird and funny to me that I really wanted to talk about it. So that'll be the one after this next beer. I kind of need a breather though, because I, it's I'm not even I should probably put these over here to prove that I've been doing it. Yeah. Ugh. Crap. Okay. How Dry I Am and Lil Brown Jug are alcohol songs from the early 1900s. They show up in Prohibition era cartoons. Prohibition era cartoons, like, oh my god. I could go into a whole spiel about that too. Like, I remember how shameless the cigarette industry allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly just in case, but like allegedly is in terms of marketing to children. It's really messed up. I didn't think that's alcohol companies did too, but it doesn't shock me. I'm surprised, but I'm not shocked. There's whatchamacallit, the completely hilarious thing about Prohibition is that when Prohibition hit, and so like alcohol was banned across America, a hilarious product came to be where it was grape juice. It was grape juice. And then on the package, on the instructions, it said, "Do not leave for do not leave overnight. Do not leave unrefrigerated for over several weeks, or else this will turn into wine." And then it was sold by a wine company. So it was a wine company, but like wine became illegal, so they became a grape juice company. And then they started selling grape juice, and like it's legit grape juice. It's non-alcoholic, but the thing is, you can very easily ferment grape juice back into wine. And then so they gave a warning label saying, "Do not do these specific things, otherwise they will turn into wine." And very clearly taking the piss, because it's like they're clearly just instructing you how to make wine while telling you not to. And the thing is, the courts could never get them on that, because legally speaking, they are just giving you a safety warning. It's not their fault if the people made wine. They explicitly warned against it, right? That's one of the funniest things. That's one of the two funniest things I've heard about Prohibition. That's the second, and the first is the woman, because Prohibition was originally a feminist movement. Leading up to Prohibition, there's this one old lady who would just straight up go into bars with an axe and just destroy the shit out of the place, just vandalize the place with that axe, like destroy tables, destroy the bar, or break all the bottles. And then, like, because she's like an old lady and generally been a good citizen up to that point, they just like let her off the hook easily, only for her to then go back to bars with an axe, smashing up the joints. That woman is a legend. That woman is an absolute legend. Maybe that can be a topic all its own. If there's a way for me to deep dive on that and like make that a stream, maybe I'll tell that story, because I'm not sure if there's enough information more. I don't know if there's more to that story than that, but I know that's like one of the funniest stories from Prohibition. Okay, third one. Oh my god, I'm so scared. It's like a breathing exercise is what this is. More than it is like an alcohol tolerance thing, because like beer is not that strong at all. Like I can put down like several cocktails with full strength spirits. Beer is only what? 5.4% volume. I'm drinking less alcohol than I am when I drink like 3 cocktails. like 2 cocktails even than the beers. But anyways, like um oh god, I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, I'm not really getting drunk from this. It's more the fact that I'm like out of breath, because it's like, okay, I need to, I'm basically drowning for like 20 seconds as I try to suck up all the beer. They used to air black and white Looney Tunes on TV and then edit out the drunk jokes so people get drunk off hair tonic or mouthwash. Oh god, but there's other like poisonous stuff in there. Oh god, that's actually kind of horrifying. That's crazy. Or like the bathtub gin that like made you go blind because they didn't know how to filter out the like the actually toxic stuff. Or I mean, like alcohol itself is poison, like I mentioned, but then like there's legit poison at the beginning and end of the brewing process that you just have to cut out. Like you brew a certain amount, throw all of that out because that's all the bad stuff, and then the rest of what most of the rest of what you brew is good, and then right at the very end there's more like highly toxic stuff that can kill you that you have to toss out. So it's like you make the first batch, toss it out, you make like 15 clean batches, and then you make the 16th batch to toss out. I'm stalling. I'm just gonna do it. No pain, no gain. Start the timer once the ball is cracked. Once the ball leaves the screen. Not the bottle, the can. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. I still didn't get all of it, but that one was actually easier. I think I'm getting used to it now. Ugh. 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 Okay, yeah. It's crazy. I was actually having trouble like getting the tab open. The moment you open it, like it just all comes flowing out like rapidly, and then so like it really does legit feel like you're drowning. But at that, ugh. Ugh. At that point, now like it just goes down hella fast, and then so it's not like 15 seconds of sucking. It's like 5 seconds of just like gain beer poured that gain beer poured down directly down your throat. Lord, let me wipe this up real fast. It's starting to become a hot mess. But then I will talk about race cars. Wow, you good, bud? I'm excellent. In fact, I get to drink. I get to drink beer and call it content. I'm awesome. How are you doing, Hansel? I promise you, I'm not nauseous. It's the way I belch is just like really intense. Okay, next topic. Now that we've downed another beer, and I probably do need to be drunk to be able to explain this one because I don't know what the fuck happened. So if you follow my Twitter lately, you'll know that I've gotten pretty into F1 as of late. Doing good, mate. It sounds like you're having fun then. Yeah, it's awesome. I love Blue Moon so much. I mentioned in the beginning of the stream how it's like my favorite beer. I can never get tired of it, and it turns out it's a better deal to get them in cans rather than bottles. And then so I decided to get them in cans, and then I just had the funny idea, what if I taught myself how to shotgun beers? And so that's that. Yeah, but I got into F1 earlier this year. I haven't really talked about it on Twitter lately until recently, mostly because of Kiri Kirivolt. Is that her name? Kiri Kirivolt? The giraffe VTuber who always talks about F1 too. And I promise it's not just leeching. Like, I'm just excited that someone else talks about it. So I'm always in her replies like, oh my god, that race was crazy too. And I really, really need to talk about the recent race for Qatar, because it was like, well, like, I mean, I'm 3 beers in, and like that race was drunker than I imagined it would be. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Hey there, chewy raccoons. Yeah, that's a. Every time I look at a Blue Moon bottle, I get tempted to sing that song too. Oh man, the Qatar Grand Prix. Where to start? So first of all, there's the drama with the F1 is basically all about drama. If you don't follow F1, is the sport that requires the most context. Because if you watch it just wondering who's going to win the race, you will have a bad time, because it's always going to be Max Verstappen. Basically. It almost always is going to be one of like 3 different drivers. Hello. So you have to know the context. You need to know you need to have some understanding of the backstory of each team at least, and like some understanding of the drivers. It's gonna be impossible to really like separate out the nuance of like each driver, given that like they all have their fans and they all have their haters and they both have good points. And then so like it's hard to get a full thing, but it's as long as you get the gist of how the teams work and you get the gist of how the individual drivers are, then you'll have more context for why certain events are interesting. And so like I will explain the context as I go, but I'll probably not repeat them, so sorry if you get confused, but I just really want to yap about this because it's hilarious, to me at least. So Max Verstappen gets pole position, which is to say he qualified in first place. He said in qualifying, everyone competes to get the best time. Whoever gets the fastest time gets first place. George Russell, the British driver who's like pretty darn good, but his team is doing badly right now, managed to get second place, but he was like, oh, Max was unnecessarily slowing me down. That's not right. He deserves to be penalized for that. And then so like he complains to the stewards, which are basically like if you watch any other sport, the referees, he complains to the stewards about like, oh yeah, he was holding me up, it's dangerous, all this kind of stuff. And so he manages, before the race, there's already drama because the FIA, basically the refs, have moved Max Verstappen to second place. They gave him a 1-place grid penalty. I was not aware that there was a 1-place grid penalty. Like, they legit just took pole position away from him. And like, for a little extra context, like the FIA have been like ridiculously stringent, particularly to Max Verstappen, which is stupid because Max Verstappen is the most popular driver in the sport. If you don't know who Max Verstappen is, let me just put it this way. His team won almost every race last year. Like that's how good Red Bull is, that's how good Max Verstappen is. In a sport where there's only 20 drivers, he won almost every race. So, he's very popular for a reason. He's very good for a reason. Like you fucking him over is gonna make him mad. So the race goes as normal. There's some crazy stuff early on in the race. So you should understand too that there's a front field, a midfield, and a backfield. And then so like the fastest cars obviously are the front field. The midfield car, and they're like separated by tiers. So like the front field is like way ahead of everyone. Big step down, you have the midfield, and then it's this is where most of the teams are. So the front field can be 3 or 4 teams, and they're all the fastest cars. Only these 4 cars have a realistic chance of winning the race. The midfield are all is where most of the competition is, and this is where probably 5 or 6 of the teams are. And then the backfield is usually 1 or 2 teams that just suck. Like they literally have slow cars compared to everyone else. Like their cars are still probably faster than your car. They have bad drivers or they have bad cars, and so they're just always somewhere in last place. Somewhere in the backfield, there's a big old crash, and like a guy who's known for causing crashes, Esteban Ocon, like legit just slid into like 2 people and took out 2 other backfielders. He took out himself first of all, and then he took out Colapinto, who's like this really cool or like really likable young driver who's unfortunately in the backfield for now, but he has a chance to have a real future in F1. But like unfortunately for him, his race ended before he could even turn the car. So like Esteban Ocon, who's kind of a known agitator, and then Franco Colapinto, a young stud rookie, just taken out on the first turn. He also slid into like another veteran driver named Nico Hulkenberg, who I think later on his race gets screwed over because of this crash. It messed up his car enough that his car breaks down later in the race. But he's basically not involved for the rest of this race either. Lance Stroll, who is famous or perhaps infamous because his daddy is a billionaire, and so he's on the team because his dad owns the team as opposed to him being any good. Like sideswipes one of the other cars, or my favorite driver, in fact, Alex Albon. Second favorite driver rather. My favorite is Sainz. Sideswipes my favorite driver by accident, but also like, dude, don't crash into people. Knocking off his mirror. This will become important later. So there's a long straightaway, and then there's like just a mirror like on in the middle of the road for like no reason. This will become important later. In fact, let's do a little. Sure. This shot glass is the mirror. Just like for whatever reason, it's just saying on the road. Curie kilovolts. A kilovolt is 1,000 volts. Right. I was thinking it was like, I remember it was like Japanese E. It was like it was like kind of Japanese like, except that like it also had some English with it with the Volt, so I wasn't sure. She's like mad into F1. It's really cool to see. Like she is like the premier like race car enthusiast among VTubers. It's pretty awesome. Anyways, okay. So, Lance Stroll sideswipes the car, and then like that incident does two weird things, and this is going to be the start of what's going to be a penalty fest. So if you watch other sports, it would be like in soccer it'd be red flags, in American football it would be yellow flags, in other sports it's just like just fouls being given out left and right. And then so Lance Stroll gets given a 10-second penalty, which is like it's any penalty is pretty darn harsh, especially in a race where these race cars are like just seconds to even like tenths of a second better than each other. Like the margins are so thin between these cars, so like a full 10-second penalty basically takes you way back. So he gets a 10-second penalty for driving into another guy. But then also he destroyed his car in the process. So Lance Stroll is like, okay, he needs to retire his car. It got broken because he accidentally hit someone. But he has to take his penalty anyways, because if he doesn't take his penalty, he's gonna take the penalty in the next race. So he's like, it's this hella awkward thing where he drives back into the pit lane, and then he just has to sit there for 10 seconds. He just has to sit there for 10 seconds before being allowed to then turn off his car and then exit the race, because like his car broke down. He can't drive it anymore. It's just that's already like a weird thing. You have Max Verstappen, who I mentioned is the best driver in the world right now. Lando Norris, who is the second best driver this season, and he's really, really good. Like he's always been like a young star, but it's like, he's inconsistent. He's still a little immature. He finally like stepped it up this year, and he's like really, really good. So he had a chance of overthrowing Max Verstappen. Didn't work out this year. But anyways, they're racing each other hard. It's a close fight. So Max is a little bit ahead. But then for whatever reason, Lando is like slowly gaining. And meanwhile, so remember the mirror. It's gonna come up, but it's not important yet. But it's becoming more and more important as we talk about that. So the broken off mirror just in the middle of the road is like there, and anytime there's any kind of hazard on the road, the marshals, once again the refs are like waving 2 yellow flags. If they're waving 2 yellow flags, it means something is wrong with the something unsafe is wrong with the track. Make sure you slow down in this section, because it's only by section. And then so like Max is slowing down, but for whatever reason that means Lando's slowly catching up, because Max sees like double yellow flags and Lando doesn't. And so Max is like, wait, is Lando lifting on the straights? There's double yellows. Check with the stewards to make sure they're not doing that. Meanwhile, we hear early on, and so another character to bring, 2 more characters to bring into this: Lewis Hamilton and Zhou Guanyu. Lewis Hamilton is the greatest driver of all time. Now he's old and kind of washed, so he's not as good as Max Verstappen, but he has quite the legacy. He's an extremely good driver, and he's known to be pretty emotional. So he's already, there's so much going wrong with the race. The car doesn't feel right for him. He's not driving particularly well. There's all sorts of things. And he was being investigated for an early start, because it's like, okay, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Like he went a little bit early. And then so he should get a penalty for that. And usually that penalty comes quick. For whatever reason, it's just not coming. the second character I want to bring up is Zhou Guanyu, and the reason I bring up Zhou Guanyu is that he is the last place driver. He in the championship. He's it's two things. One, he's not been typically a very good driver, and two, his car sucks. Like, he's one of the backfield cars, just like one of the really, really slow cars. His car actually is improved for these last 3 races, and the thing is, he's gonna be kicked off the team next year. Like, he technically has nothing to play for, but instead of being back here in like 19th or 28th place, he's up in like 9th or 8th place. He's actually like really going crazy. Sorry, GBD, I just noticed your other message. Clara was on her VTuber driving show as one of the first contestants. I saw that drive. Well, I see it on Twitter a lot. I haven't been able to watch it in the VODs, but that looks like a cool thing. She like invites people on collabs to like play a racing game with her. That sounds really cool, honestly. Were you into F1 too, Hansel? Where was I? But yeah, Zhou Guanyu is just like, he's doing surprisingly well. And it's not just blind luck. Like, he's driving incredibly well. He's like doing clean overtakes. He's driving very tight and cleanly throughout all these complicated high-speed corners. He's doing an amazing job for himself. And the thing is, like I mentioned, they're a backfield team. They're actually so bad that they haven't been able to score any points. You need to be 10th place or higher to score any points. And so, like, they've never even gotten close to being able to score any points. And he's currently in the points. A lot of my friends are, but I'm not into it yet. I never thought I would get into motor racing, but it's just super exciting. It turns out it's really exciting to be able to like just do all that. It turns out it's really exciting, especially when you learn all the stories and like you have so many different storylines to root for, especially what I'm going to talk about with Zhou Guanyu, because it's like he's about to be fired. He's generally considered to be a bad driver. The car itself has been shit, and he's somehow like about to score points for the first time. For the record, like, it's become such a meme in the community that Sauber is so bad that it's like it's become such a meme that the Sauber is so bad that like it's like people are now rooting for it. Like, anytime Zhou Guanyu or Valtteri Bottas' teammates get anywhere close to points, it's like, oh, is this the chance for Sauber to score points? Is there a chance? Oh man, kind of like football. Oh man, won't lie. So I'm really into the NFL, but like this year is just kind of a this year's been painful. This year's been really painful for my team. I follow probably the worst team right now, and I just stopped watching football. I'm just waiting for next year with football. Man. Maybe I can talk about that later, but I'm not gonna talk about that today. So yeah, people are just ruining the hell out of this backfield team. It's like, oh my god, they have to score points at some point. And so like, the fact that Zhou's in the points is amazing. There's a safety car, which is to say they bring out like this intentionally slower car to like back up the field, and so everyone has to drive slow while they clear out an incident. I think this was for the first crash. So like that first crash I mentioned with Ocon and Colapinto, they're just like going through the track slowly to like get that all cleaned up, get their cars off the road. I had to wake up for 4 a.m. to watch, but all the ones I woke up for were the most interesting ones. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Not gonna lie, I'm getting confused so where you're which part you're responding to with that, but it's, oh man, this race was just insane for hilarious but bullshit reasons. So they start up again. So we already have 3 cars taken out, 4 cars taken out. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And then so oh, we're getting to the mirror now. Oh, a thing with the Formula One is, like I mentioned, there are the fast teams, there are the slow team, there's the middling, there's the fast teams, there's the middle teams, and then there's the slow teams. The Obviously, like, all the fast teams are going around the track fast. The slower teams are like not nearly as fast going around, and then so it's not uncommon for the fast teams to actually be able to lap them. And so the rule is that if you're one of the slow teams and then you're about to get lapped by the if you're about to get lapped by someone about to pass you, you have uh, you have to get out of the way for them. And then so Valtteri Bottas in his Sauber gets out of the way, and to know it's not going to be this big. Like it's just a tiny mirror sitting on the road when the cars are like that big. So like Max Verstappen's coming, so Bottas gets out of the way and runs over the mirror. Now, the thing was, the reason why they were waving those yellow flags is because they saw the mirror. They were showing it on the broadcast. They knew it was there, but for whatever reason, they didn't want to clear it because, like, they could do a thing like a safety car to make sure it's safe to clear it. Sorry, one second. Sorry, I need to like tone down my voice a little bit. They have to turn on the safety. They have things like the safety car in order to clear it, and then so, like, for whatever reason they just never did that. That Valtteri just completely by accident runs over the mirror and just completely shatters it. So now there's glass and carbon fiber all over the straightaway. Just like. How else can I represent this? Just like instead of that one thing, instead of this one thing that could have been very easily cleaned up if they just slowed down the cars, they turned it into just a mess of just like sharp glass and broken parts everywhere on the straight. And then that actually has consequences because, like, as it turns out, Lewis Hamilton runs over some of that glass, and suddenly there's runs over some of that glass, and then his tires blow up. Like his tire pops a hole and gets punctured, and so he gets a flat tire, and he's already having a bad day. That his car is not fast. His forefront fielder, he just doesn't feel right in the car. He's kind of in a bad mood already with everything that's happening. And then now he gets a puncture, and it's like, it's just my luck, ain't it? Sainz, my favorite driver on the grid in the Ferrari, also runs over the glass. And then so like hella just two cars are now affected by this when they could have cleaned it up at any time. That's why they had the double yellows. Usually double yellows is shortly followed by a safety car, but they never did that. And then so just like two cars get their races ruined by this because they didn't want to safety car it. They finally do safety car it, so they get the car out to slow down the drivers and just like follow along. And like, oh my gosh, I should like, first of all, like, why wait so long? Second of all, like, it's why wait so long to like, why now? All this stuff. It's you go through the safety car, and because you're driving pretty slowly, you are gonna because you're driving pretty slowly, the drivers are very unlikely to cause any incidents. They're just gonna just weave to keep their tires hot, and they're just gonna go through the free laps, go through the free pit stops, and then, it's kind of a casual drive, just waiting for the action to start up again. It's kind of like being in timeout. Oh, it's in other sports. Somehow, once again, a new character, Sergio Perez. What you need to know about him is that he's Max Verstappen's teammate. So Max Verstappen, best driver in the world right now. He's his teammate, and he's generally been a good driver until this year. This year he's been not just really bad, like, why are you driving an F1 bad? Like, it's genuinely like, how is it possible you can drive this bad and still have a job? And then so it's like he's been underperforming. He's been just crazy incompetent, and then he's doing well because he's in a front field car, like he's supposed to be fast, and just like spins out during safety car, like literally, like while everyone's going slowly intentionally, while everyone's just waiting for the race to actually start, he just spins around, and like we didn't even notice it. Because it was like, okay, we're following the front, we're talking about the stories. Oh yeah, Charles Leclerc is in third place, Lando Norris is in second place, all this kind of stuff. And oh wait, okay, I missed a part of the story, but then but I'll stay on Perez for a second. His nickname's Checo. Oh, you see, like, so like whenever you watch the screen, it's like, okay, what's happening on screen is like okay, someone's operating the cameras and showing all the drivers. On the left side of the screen, so left side for the horizontal camera, for the vertical camera, like somewhere around here, yeah, it shows the standings, like first place Max Verstappen, second place Charles Leclerc, third place, etc. You see Perez in like 8th place, and then suddenly just like dropping, and like, what is happening to Perez? Wait, what happened to Perez? It's still safety car. It turns out he spun out, and according to him, it's because the drive failed, and so that benefit of the doubt, maybe it was his car failing him, but it's just like, how is this happening again? How are you throwing another race away? So that's the 5th car. There's only 20 cars. That's the 5th car that's been taken out of this race. It's surprising if we get more than 2. So it restarts, and what I forgot to mention before this happens, so like I mentioned, Lando was close to Max. Lando ends up getting a 10-second stop and go penalty for not slowing down during double yellow. The reason is that whatchamacallit, it's when there's double yellow, like I said, it means that there's something dangerous on track that they need to fix. And then so you need to lift off, or just to say stop accelerating when you see a double yellow. He wasn't, but 10-second stop and go is a ridiculously brutal penalty. And it's fair given the violation, but still, it means that you have to pit. And first of all, the pit has a speed limit, so you can't speed in the pit. Stop for 10 seconds, and your mechanics can't even touch the car. They're not allowed to touch the car for 10 seconds before you're allowed to go again. So you effectively lose like 35 seconds as opposed to just the 10 seconds it sounds like. Hamilton gets a 10-second penalty because he was speeding in the pit lane while they were doing the safety car stuff of like, they had to go through the pit lane because the main straight had all the crap on it, and then so like he had to pit they had to go through the pit lane, and Hamilton, normally known for being the best of all time and a clean driver, just was speeding in the pit lane, and so he had to serve a drive-through penalty, which is to say you have to drive through the pit lane without stopping. Once again, that's like you basically lose like 15-20 seconds doing that. So that's a really harsh penalty too. All the while, that means Zhou Guanyu, the quote-unquote bad driver who can never score points, is in 8th place and well on the way to score 4 points. Just insane stuff. The race is just going crazy. Hamilton is just losing his mind. Like, he's famous for telling people never give up, never surrender. He talks about this stuff all the time, about what his drive and how much it motivates him to just never give up, go for the win always. He legit wanted to give up. He's like, I want to park this car. I'm done with this race. Like, the never give up guy wanted to give up. That's how much Hamilton was just sick of this shit. The greatest of all time was just sick of this. Yeah, the plot twists go deeper and deeper. It's just insane how many like weird twists and turns there are just because the reffing was so bad. The race starts up again, and from here on out it's relatively normal, but it's like all eyes are on Zhou. And so like throughout the race, and so the thing about Zhou is that he's really incognito. Like, no one really notices him because he's usually in the back, or even if he is somewhere in like 16th, 15th, 14th, like no one really cares about his race, largely because there's rarely any action around him. But everyone has their attention on him. It's like, oh my god, he might actually score points this time. Because you notice it from the driver of the day polls, and usually it's one of 8 drivers, just one of the front 4, because it's like, okay, those are the most popular guys. It's gonna be Max Verstappen, it's gonna be Lewis Hamilton, it's gonna be Lando Norris, it's gonna be Charles Leclerc, it's gonna be one of these popular guys in the front field. It started that way, and then we realized Zhou might get points, so it was like, okay, 14% for Max Verstappen, 13% for Zhou Guanyu, like 8% for Charles Leclerc. And then we're coming up to the end of the race, and it's really looking like Zhou Guanyu will score points, and it's now like 30%, and so Zhou Guanyu, 8% Verstappen, 4% Charles Leclerc. Like, everyone's rooting for Zhou Guanyu to finish this race and score points, and he fucking does it. He crosses 8th. He crosses in 8th place, which scores him 4 points, which would be the first time Sauber ever scores points this season. And like, the whole internet was cheering. There's memes all over the place about like, oh my god, Sauber points, Zhou scored points, Zhou Macker. No more slow Guanyu. Like, oh my god, like everyone was so hyped for the most incognito driver because he managed to score the points. And to top it all off, so all these bullshit penalties, all these crazy moments, and right at the end, after the race, Russell got a penalty for some kind of pit stop issue. And so yeah, it was just an insane race. Zhou finally scored points, and in fairness to him, he did have a great drive. The car is significantly better. He did do a bunch of moves that were really good, and he just drove extremely cleanly. It did, however, take 5 retirements, two massive penalties for front fielders, 2 blown tires from front fielders, and like a shitload of incidents, and 2 safety cars. So it's just like, was there luck involved? Yes, there was tons of luck involved, but you need that when you're one of the slowest cars to score any points. And it's that race was so hilarious. It's just that I hope it never happens again, because it was a shit show. It was a clown show. It was like such bad refereeing the whole way through. It was such bad, like, it was such slow reaction time through everything. It's just there so much went wrong during the race that was super preventable, that just like didn't need to happen. And then so like it was just, it was funny. It was very funny once. I really enjoyed the race because it was really funny once, but if it ever happens again, I just know I'd be annoyed and just like fed up, and it's like, oh my god, this is so stupid. What is the point of this? This is not good racing. It's very clear the drivers didn't have a good time, so it's like a really fucked up race. Like, it would be frustrating if it wasn't so funny. Oh man. Whew. Okay, 2 more beers to go. What should I talk about next? Once I shotgun this one. Probably the next thing I'll do. Has it happened before? What specifically? What do you mean? Like with like a point, like is someone scoring points that they enter, or like a really, really bad reffing? That, because there has been like the FIA has a real problem. Like this, that's probably an important context too, was like this entire year, like legit the drivers are really mad at the FIA, the referee, the governing body, the referees. And like to the point that they're like in a cold war where like they're sending letters like, we demand that Mohammed bin Sulayem step down, we demand like an explanation for this and that, we demand to know where our fines are going. And like, yeah, it's not been pleasant for the drivers, and this was like the boiling point. But in a way it was very entertaining, but I hope it never happens again. This kind of frustrating game in general, no, never this bad. They've had plenty of bad and controversial calls before, especially in big moments. They've had particularly bad races before, at least from what I've seen. Obviously, I haven't been around. I've only been around this year, but I know like they've had some pretty bad ones. This one was the complete clown show. This one was like, where are all these penalties come from? Why are they so slow to react to like major things and so quick to react to minor things, etc.? Like it was wild last race. What would be the next thing I want to talk about? The real shit show. Yeah. Oh man. It's tough to like really describe how bad that race was, but again, it was just so entertaining that it was like, in a weird way, it was kind of great, but for all the wrong reasons. Like, I hope it never happens again. Whew. Well, for the next topic, are you interested in music? Maybe. If you have something that you want me to talk about, maybe we can do that for the next one once I shotgun this beer. Okay. I swear to God, I get scared every time I try to do this. It's so intimidating. Ugh, that one went down. Ugh. That one went down like relatively cleanly. Ugh. Excuse me. Excuse the bad manners. Oh god. There's so many air bubbles that I just feel so out of breath whenever. There's so many air bubbles that I just feel so out of breath every time I do that. I'm good. I just needed like a moment to breathe, because the thing is like, so you poke a hole in this and you chug it, and so basically the whole can just empties into your mouth in an instant. So it's like, okay, I can't possibly swallow all that. I'm just like I just have a mouthful of beer for like 3 full gulps, and so I can't breathe for like a few seconds while I try to gulp it all down. and then so like I just need a moment to get those breaths back before I can actually properly start talking again. And then let alone the fact that like all that carbonation is going into my stomach all at once, and then so it's like there's so much air in my stomach that I need to let out by burping, and then it's just that's another moment of like breathlessness. Yeah, it gets forced down your throat. Yeah, I realized how sus what I was saying earlier. It's like, oh yeah, you had to spend like 15 seconds sucking it down, and I'm just like, oh, I'm realizing how sus that sounds now. Whew. Ugh. 4 beers, 1 more to go. Recommendations for music. Oh yeah, that will probably lead me to why I actually wanted to talk about, but it helps. I don't really, because I don't really listen to that many. I don't like intentionally look for music to listen to. I just listen to stuff that I like, and like whatever YouTube ends up recommending me to. So I found myself lately listening to a lot of sorry, I need to burp again. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Where was I? Yeah, I don't intentionally look for music. I've listened to, so what have I been listening to lately? I found a great guitar cover of No Kame. I just really like comedy from Kigeki, which translates to comedy from Spy Family, the first ad. I tend to go back to Triple Q mashups. I think Triple Q does a really good job. I mentioned earlier that I really like Ken Ashcorp, so I've listened to a lot of Ken Ashcorp lately. I haven't listened to much lately, but I'm generally into classic rock. I just love classic rock so much. Man, I need to start watching Roxy from Idol Corp again. God, she's such a good. Idol Corp is Roxy from Idol Corp is just such a great VTuber. Yeah, those are my music recommendation. But it's, as you can tell, I listen to a lot of anime songs. And so that's actually the thing I wanted to talk about but forgot about. Was just I wanted to talk about anime because I've been wanting to gush about anime for a while. For one, during my long hiatus, I finally watched Spy Family, and God, I'm so hooked on that show. Like I watched all of Spy Family, and it was just such a wholesome show, and especially after the tragedy that I had to endure, like it really made me appreciate that show even more. And like even on my Twitter algorithm, like they started recommending me Spy Family stuff. I comment on one post, and now 40% of my timeline is like Tweeyor stuff, Twilight Xyor, that ship. And it's just like it's honestly like a blessed algorithm move. It's just like I absolutely love that they did that for me. And then so that has been a really wholesome show. That show is just really so good. Like it simultaneously like touches on like the realities and the cruelties of the effects of war and like all that kind of stuff. Like there's that great scene where it's like, oh yeah, those college students are like committing terrorist acts because they want war and like thinking war would be good. And then the lady telling them is like what war does to people. Like, oh, imagine starving for 3 days straight, or watching your grandfather or just slip into panic attacks and they're crying for no reason at random times. And like all the atrocities and like depression of war to these kids to like set them straight. It's really serious. And then but meanwhile it's a comedy show. Like somehow it's a comedy show. It's so funny too, and it's like Anya is such a hilarious character. Yor is such a sweet, wholesome character, despite literally being an assassin, like a legendary assassin that like brutally murders people. Despite Twilight is the smartest, most plans such like a spy who plans every detail down to the minute, and he can't figure out how to like be a good father to Anya. It's and it's hard to the first thing I thought of was that it's really unique, but then I realized it's not. It's really tropey. Like it's really tropey in a lot of ways. Like, oh, Yor has the bad cook trope, or like is clueless, or like all these things. They just do everything really well, and like you get so attached to all the characters. You get so emotionally invested in all the characters. And I think I realized what it was the fact that Anya is such a small child. So it's like Anya is like what, 5 or 6 years old, and then she has telepathy, so she can read the minds of her mother and father. And then like Twilight's going on about all this crazy like spy stuff that she doesn't really understand. Yor is going off on her like assassin stuff that is scary and that she doesn't really understand. And then so you have the cruel reality of their worlds, the cruel reality of being an international spy, the cruel reality of being a political assassin, and like all this Cold War that is like oppressing so many people and like causing so much strife in the world. But because it's being filtered through into Anya, who's just a 5-year-old child with a spy fantasy, it's like really, it becomes funny because it all becomes misinterpreted in a way that just seems like a fun little fantasy for her. And then it's just like, and then just the idea of like making a lot of these scenarios goofy because of the mind of the child, because they mind the child so much, is just like makes it really wholesome and funny somehow. Like we've turned the Cold War funny. And it's amazing how good that show is. I really have been getting back into anime a lot lately, because when I started watching Vtubers, that replaced the time I used to watch anime. So Vtubers replaced anime for me. And then now because I watch Vtubers less, because it's just now that I'm night shift, I can't catch the English speaking Vtubers I used to. And like I can't really understand Japanese. for the Japanese VTubers. Like I don't really get the chance to watch VTubers anymore, so I started watching anime again, and so I'm getting caught up on a bunch of anime. I rewatched Danberu Nankiro Moteru because I just love that show so much. That show is so awesome because while it is like fan servicey, mildly ecchi, it actually gives legit workout advice. And don't take it from me, there is a fitness YouTuber named Jaxblade, and he was the one who went viral when this anime came out because Danberu is my favorite anime of all time, is my favorite manga of all time. I hope it gets an anime. And it's like, who would make an anime for this obscure like workout? Oh, it's a manga. Are you crazy? He started trending on Japanese Twitter because the anime for Danberu Nankiro Moteru came out, and then he was watching it. He was so hyped. It's like, oh my god, and then he's literally crying, like, oh, oh my god, I'm so happy. And like he's legitimately like bawling his eyes out because he's so happy that this weird workout manga is turning into an anime. And then like Japanese people were retweeting his things like, holy shit, this American guy is like really into this show, I should give it a watch and whatnot. And then he did a react series, and normally I hate react content, but unless it's something like doctor reacts to medical advice in movies or whatnot, like when they actually have expertise on the subject and like aren't just like watching the react video and eating popcorn. They're actually like pausing the video like, well, the issue with this scene is this and that, or like, actually this is a good scene, they really address this and that properly. Obviously it's a movie, so they're exaggerating it, but this is actually Danberu, dumbbell, just basically like what you left, like dumbbells. Danberu Nankiro Moteru. How heavy are the dumbbells you left? And so anyways, he does his own react series where it's personal trainer reacts to dumbbell, how heavy are the dumbbells you lift. And like he's watching the scenes, and the show is trying to give you workout advice. It's like, oh, here's the proper form on how to do a squat, and it's a little bit fan servicey as like they give you gratuitous shots of her butt, or like bench presses, and like she's going like as like she's like doing the dumbbell, like very ecchi, very fan servicey, except for the fact that like they're showing like diagrams. It's like, oh, these are the muscles it's working, this is the proper form and whatnot. And then he's legit watching it, and it's like, yeah, this is legit advice, this actually works, this is the right way to do this, there's the right way to do that. And like the whole series is actually like legit workout advice. The only thing he has issue on is like the only issue he has is like one episode where they were talking about diets, and he thinks that one is like a little bit misleading on how you should approach your diet. And then so like that was his one issue with the show. But for the most part, he's like, oh yeah, that's actually accurate because this, that, and this. And then like he'll draw it out and do it. And it's like that's how I ended up loving that show, because it's not only fun, it's not, I won't lie, I do like it because it's ecchi, but it's also like it really is legit workout advice. If you want to start working out and you watch a dumbbell, how heavy are the dumbbells you lift, it's actually good advice. And that's kind of insane for like an ecchi anime. It's like ecchi-tainment. Like there's edutainment, now there's ecchi-tainment. Ecchication, I guess. Scott, oh my god. I'd never ever thought I would ever get Tascadu. Yeah. I also watched No Kame. So like I mentioned the No Kame opening. I'm someone who, it's weird. I have a little bit of a weird taste in anime in general because don't I'm not really caught up with a lot of the mainstream shows. I like a few like what people would consider trash tier shows. And just in general, like I like how do I put this? Just like my taste is all over the place, and it's because the main thing that sucks me in more than, let's say, fan service, more than the story, more than anything else, is actually the theme songs. Like if a theme song is particularly good, it makes me want to tune into the anime a lot because I get to listen to that theme song over and over, and so that's why I really love No Kame. I have no idea what the full thing is. Let me actually try to look it up. No Kame. Ore no nonai sentakushi. Ore no nonai sentakushi ga gakuen rabu kome o zenryoku de jamashiteru. Or my mental choices are completely interfering with my school romance comedy. Very weird show. Extremely weird show. Stop it. Okay. Very weird show. Very bizarre show. It's about this guy, and he's generally considered to be an attractive guy, and he's like considered cool in his old school, but then as he transfers in, he is afflicted with this curse that so you know how visual novels, every now and then you will get two choices, like at least two choices about like, oh, do this, do that, and then like that affects the route you go. In No Kame, he gets this curse where that comes up every now and then, and he has to make a choice, otherwise he gets like massive spleen headaches. And they're both like obscenely stupid, and it's like, let me touch your boobs, or do you want to touch my boobs, or like strip naked in front of the class, or pretend to be a pig for 10 minutes, or like the crazy shit that makes him be just weird as fuck. And like, it's a crazy show. It's really, really stupid. And I watched this when I was like 18 or something, and I was just like, okay, this is too stupid for me, I'm not gonna finish it off. I watched it now and I actually love it because it's so stupid, just because it's like is so pointless and meaningless that it's actually kind of fun. Just it's like it's fine to like have a little bit of brain rot every now and then. Just turn off your brain and enjoy the silliness. And like, but to get back to the point of theme songs, this anime has one of the best theme songs ever. It's called SML by Ophelia Saga, which used to be one, as far as I understand, they might have fallen off, but they used to be one of the biggest idol groups in Japan. Just like one of the most popular idol groups in Japan. And SML, which stands for Sweet Melty Love, is such a good song. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And the opening sequence pays it off too. Like, the opening sequence is like this really cool thing of like every character doing a handstand and like doing random stuff, like what happens in the show. Like, the dude is getting up to shenanigans, the girls are like looking at him weird but like being affectionate with him. The chorus kicks in and it's like this big drawn out sequence of them looking back at the viewer in their swimsuits, and it's like both cute and sexy at the same time, and it's just like this really great opening sequence. Amazing song, well animated opening sequence. It's like it's awesome. And that's what hooked me on the show in the first place. And then when I rewatched it, I'm like, God, this theme song is so fucking good. It's long after I quit watching the show the first time, it was still in my playlist. Like I would listen to SML like every week, and I only rediscovered SML recently, and I'm just like, this song is so fucking good. Ugh. It's just amazing. I love that song so much, and that's part of why I watch it. Like I there's another show called like Mondaichi, which is like a weird sort of like knockoff version of No Game No Life, but like that show had such an amazing ED and end story. What is the word? End credits theme song, because it was just such a banger. It was so good, and that's a big reason why I watched that show. Ugh. Let me get caught up. Neither of those options seem very ideal. Yeah, the whole point is like everything he does makes him look like a complete knob. Like it makes him look like a complete idiot in front of everyone. And so like all the girls who are it's a harem show, so all the girls who are into him are weirdos. So like it forces him to be a weirdo so that he gets with one of those girls. Is it kind of like Shikanoko? Shikanoko noko noko koshnanda. Is it kind of like Shikanoko in a shitpost way? I've never actually watched that yet. I probably should. I never watch anything in season because I hate waiting for episodes. Singing Taskaru. Do you really think my singing's any good? I thought my singing was dog shit, and that's why I'm scared to do any karaoke. I've been lurking because Volume 1, Chapter 3, and Part 2 of Blue Archive just released, and I've been immediately binging it. Oh, hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, I need to get caught up with Blue Archive, but I need to get caught up in Snowbreak first. And then I really want to grind Nikke, but like I really need to get caught up on Blue Archive. I'm barely through like chapter 4. Maybe I can do some of that. Maybe I can go back to some Blue Archive streams. There's no reason not to. Like maybe it's a way to have a filler week in case like I don't know what to do in a given week. I can probably do some filler episodes of just like Blue Archive, voice act through that again to get through it, because that seems like I really want to get through it. I just really want to get through it. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. We can probably bring back some Blue Archive streams just as filler. I never did finish watching The Hero is Overpowered but Overcautious, and I love that one. I listened to Kamen Rider Forze. I watched Kamen Rider Forze after listening to the theme song on loop. Ooh, I kind of want to listen to that. I'll check that out. So, like I said, I hear a theme song. It's like, ooh, this is good. Maybe I'll watch that show as opposed to like anything else for that show. Your singing is very soft. I think it's very nice. Just my humble opinion though. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. I did a stream hella long ago where I wrote a song for Mint Fantome, and like I listened back to that song and I thought my singing was so trash that I was like, oh, I can't post this on the internet. This is so trash. People are gonna dogpile me for this. So I'm like, maybe I'll try again. I have the script up. I have the script for that. So like, and maybe I can bring that up. Maybe that can be a punishment game at some point. Like maybe if we ever do a donathon on, or like a subathon or whatever, some kind of like goal-based stream, or like some punishment game-based stream. Like let's say like we did like a video game stream, and it's like, oh, if I don't win, this, that, or the other happens. Like maybe I'll sing that song I wrote as a punishment game. But I'm too shy to actually sing in any capacity, not even for like a casual karaoke stream for now. I never did finish watching The Heroes Overpowered but Overcautious, but I like that op. I know I read that one, but I just didn't process it correctly. The thing is, I remember hearing the name of that show. I've never heard anything about it. So that's probably a weird sign for it. I did want to watch that Oya-san, something Russian, like something about Russian. You read Op as one? Oh, okay. Yeah, that one was fun, and I actually am kind of interested in the dub for that, but because like they actually, so there's that uh, the good morning my brother thing. I'm not gonna try to sound seductive while doing it, because but like you heard the good morning my brother thing in English for the Japanese dub, and then so in the English dub it's Ohayo my Oni-chan, and it's like that is that is actually pretty good dubbing. I'm generally tolerant of dubs. I recall them being quite good in the 90s. I remember them being quite bad in the 2000s. I remember them picking up again in the early 2010s, becoming trash again in the late 2010s. But then recently with the Oya-san dub, just from the clips I've heard, I'm kind of interested in that dub. I except for 2 shows that I've watched, and apparently there's a 3rd show like this too. In general, I think dubs are always inferior to subs, but I think it's a meme to say they're automatically bad. Like generally they're pretty good. I have a tendency to fall for shows that don't make any impact, like My First Girlfriend is a Gyaru. I remember hearing about that, especially because I love Gyarus. Gyarus are hot. And like, yeah, apparently that show was a bit mid, ain't it? I'd still watch it, and I probably still enjoy it. It just probably wouldn't leave that strong of an impact on me. Batsu stream, oh my god. I don't even know what I would do for a Batsu stream. I did want to try doing Batsu streams as content before, but then I realized just like I don't have the capacity for that. I could do some of them again, because like with this setup I can have like a camera to actually show what I'm doing, because I did one where every time I died in Hades I would take a shot of hot sauce. There was no way for me to prove that though, because I don't have a webcam to like show the hot sauce, but now maybe I can, and then so we can do something like that. I was thinking about like a weird sort of reverse Batsu anytime I did something good, like in I was thinking about something I thought would be fun, but I have no idea how to set up, is I thought I would play an F1 game. And the thing with F1 games, to actually, let's save that for the next topic, but yeah, like I've gotten really into F1 games, and like I've thought about Batsu streams. In fact, maybe Batsu streams can be the next topic, but first, before we move on to topics, we have to shotgun the last beer. Oh boy. Oh boy. Remember how I said at the beginning of the stream that I get very intimidated starting streams, except for this one? I'm getting that same kind of trepidation, but instead of being nervous about streaming, I'm nervous about choking on this beer. The manga was much better for First Girlfriend. It was more of a romance, and the anime added a lot of weird Family Guy style comedy asides. What the heck? That's very weird for an anime. What the hell? Oh god. Maybe I should. Yeah. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say this. I did end up watching stuff like testament, and like rewatching DxD while I was out too. I do have a little bit of an unhealthy obsession with good ecchi shows. If you know the artist Captivate on Twitch TV, he's actually like really into ecchi shows too, because like he has the same mentality I do. Like, first of all, like, look, anime boobs are great. Just like ecchi just on its own merits is great. I don't care who you are. It might be a guilty pleasure, but it's a pleasure nonetheless. Second, when an ecchi show is actually pretty good, like at least half decent, it actually does end up being underrated, because so many people like overrate the ecchi elements of it. It's like, oh, that show's ecchi, it's probably automatically bad. And that's not an unfair assessment, but also like, if you've actually seen the show, you'd realize it's actually damn good. Like, unironically, High School of the Dead is my third favorite anime. Third or second, I forget how I have these ranked. It's unironically like my second or third favorite anime, and it's because it's actually like legitimately one of the best zombie shows just ever. And like, it's so good, it's so like well thought out, it's so well done. But it's just like, because of 2 or 3 really memey things about it, the fact that it's so ecchi, the fact that like they have that like ridiculous boob physics in that one scene, etc. Like the fact that the characters have intense plot armor. It's like yes, those are all fair criticisms, and even me as a High School of the Dead defender cannot like really refute that. But it genuinely is like a ridiculously good and well thought out show if you were to remove the ecchi elements. And in fact, if you remove the ecchi elements, you remove some of the story value, because part of it is the fact that people are getting desperate, they're getting crazy, they're getting lonely in this world full of zombies, and they have to kill their own families, and they have to kill the people they used to know. And then like, there's a scene where like the main heroine almost gets assaulted, and the main character has a save her. There's a scene where like the sleazy teacher convinces his female students to like give their bodies up. It's like for the sake of everyone else's sanity, and it's like, it's really fucked up, and it actually adds to the story to have the ecchi, not take away from it. So it's half copium. I will admit, it's half copium. Like, I just really like anime boobs, but it is there are hidden gems within the ecchi genre, which is why it's like kind of an untapped well of good anime, because of the fact that like sometimes it is worth it. And so like, it's fun to talk about that with Captivate on Twitch, or like just in general people who like ecchi. The worst show that's affected me most is Aiken, but it was utter garbage. But oh my, I remember someone talking to me about Aiken, and just like it being like the most ridiculous fan servicey show, and I'm just like in some ways I'm very curious, in other ways I don't want to subject myself to that. Anyways, I've stalled long enough. Oh my god, I'm so intimidated by this. Ugh. Okay, I really need to clean that one up. Give me a moment. What was that other one crazy show? The K show? I really want to, just to say I did, I really want to watch that one. It's like the ridiculous one where they fight with their butts. Oh man. I had to like stop in the middle of the last one because it was like so particularly fizzy that I just couldn't down it. It was like mostly air. And then so like it was taking extra long. I needed to catch my breath in the middle of that last one. But man, oh, that one. Oh, that one was really difficult. There's no stopping me once I get going. Put a can in my hand, man, I'm wide ass open. The tick tock of that clock is like a time bomb. By 10:30, I'm half past tipsy. 11:45, man, I done had plenty. The countdown's on when the first beer hits me. 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, too many. Oh man. Yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, too many. Oh man. I did it. I shotgunned 5 beers. Whew. Yeah. So Batsu games. Like I mentioned, like I used to stream doing Batsu games. I think a modern thing I wanted to do with now that I have this whole setup, I don't know how exactly I'd set it up, especially because I don't know if this laptop would be able to handle it. But I really wanted to play the F1 game. So like I talked about earlier, like I'm really into F1, and that includes playing the F1 video game. Sim racers are a weird sort of video game. Sim racers are like it's hard to describe them as fun, but I really love them. That sounds weird to say because it's the sort of thing where it's like, okay, they're frustrating to play. They're so hyper realistic. Like the car understeers or oversteers a little too much and it ruins your race. And you're like, ah, god damn it. It's so tricky and difficult. But it's so like you have to be on full concentration, like upshifting at the right times, downshifting to the right gear, and like braking, lifting early enough, braking early enough to manage your tires. Or if you need to push, you have to brake as late as possible and just manage and like deal with your tires going off sooner, and like really meticulously staying on the racing line, and just all these little things that you have to manage to just keep your car going in the right direction. Like it's frustrating, it's difficult, it's challenging, and it's so rewarding. It feels so good to pass someone. It feels so good to say a good time. And so it's like it's such a satisfying experience, despite the fact that it's such a frustrating and not necessarily fun experience. And that's a hard feeling to describe. You know what I'm saying? And thus, I thought a funny little reverse Batsu would be like every time I do a fastest lap, like take a shot or something like that, or like every pit stop take a shot. And then so like my driving will get progressively worse as I'm like driving, just because like I'm drinking and I'm driving. In game of course, I do not advocate drinking and driving IRL. It's very dangerous and stupid. So like I've always wanted to do like Batsu game type content, like for Ultra Kill. If you've seen the game Ultra Kill, it's a very bizarre game. It's a very awesome game. It's a it's a modern boomer shooter, which is to say like it has classic shooter vibes, like from the early 2000s, that kind of shooters, thus boomer shooter. But it's a modern game. It came out in like 2018, 2019, sometime really recently. And it's such a high-paced, actiony, like arcadey like game. It's super awesome, feels good to play, makes you feel badass. It's very, very difficult, but in a way that's super fair. Like every time you die, you know you fucked up. It's not something unfair with the game. You fucked up somehow. So it's very hard but very fair. And like I did this challenge. So actually, backing up a bit, it is also a very weird game because the secret levels are like nothing like the normal game. It's not bloody and gory with you killing things and like getting blood all over yourself. There will be like very nice little puzzles. There will be like very nice little puzzles. There will be very nice little whatchamacallit, there will be very nice little puzzles. There will be very nice there will be like a VN sequence, like a romantic comedy VN, where it's like it will be your robot dude, your hell robot that gets blood all over it in like a schoolgirl outfit. Like there's like a hamster, that meme about a hamster. Like there's all these weird Easter eggs in it. And they even have a merch store where you can buy dockies of like the main bad guy, Gabriel, or like your character in the school uniform, the robot that gets blood all over them. And then so it's just a very bizarre game with very bizarre developers. Very good game too. And then that's very hard. And so I did a challenge where I was like, okay, for every time I die, I spend $1 in the merch store. It turns out, because I'm new at that game and that game is very hard, that was gonna get very expensive very quickly. So I ended up abandoning that challenge. I don't think I was gonna be able to do that. And I really wanted to do challenge type stuff like that. Like I wanted to do a free to play challenge for Shadowverse, but that would take too long. Like there's all sorts of things I wanted to try to do with Batsu gaming, but I just wasn't sure how to do it in ways that properly could be turned into like good content. That wasn't something that overbeared my own gaming skill, because I'm not like an elite gamer. So it's like I'm really not sure how I would approach that. Now that, and then like even something like Hades, that's a lot more manageable because I would only have to take a shot like once every 15 minutes or something, because like every run's super long. But even then, it's just like, one, that's a lot of sodium to take in. Two, like how would I prove that without a webcam? Now I can, so it's like it probably wouldn't be that hard. But still, like, it's a little bit unpleasant to be able to do that. So, like, I want to try doing some type of Batsu gaming challenge. Like, just Batsu game in general. I'm not sure how I want to approach it, but it does seem fun. You know what I mean? And then so I'll have to think of something like that. It could just be a donathon thing. Like if I ever get big enough to be able to do a donathon, like if I ever get to the point where I can, let's do a subathon when I start streaming on Twitch again. Like, oh, let's do a donathon every milestone we hit, we do this or that. Like, I'm 100% willing to do it. I just need to do something that's like a little easier on me instead of like a constant gaming challenge or a constant this or that challenge. If it's like a one-time thing, like, oh, if I hit this goal in a donathon, I sing the mint. if I hit a certain goal in the mint, I can't talk anymore. Maybe I am drunk. If I hit a certain goal in the donathon, I sing the Mint Fantome song I wrote for her. Or like for every Akasupa, I take a shot of absinthe or something. Like, I don't know. Like, it would have to be something a lot more controlled than I can handle. It would have to be something controlled that I could handle, but like, I do want to try something like that is the point. And so like, I'm constantly thinking of ways to be able to do that without like overstepping my own bounds, because I've tried doing that and overstepped my bounds every time. So I want to figure out a fun way to do that kind of content, because like, I have a content plan for this channel. I have a content plan to do all sorts of like cool alcohol related stuff, shotgunning beers, teaching you mixology, doing stuff like that cocktail book I did last week, like, well, the past month really. And then so I'm trying to figure out the right sort of content schedule to do to be able to make all these videos. And yeah, I just think it would be fun to do mixology. Oh man, you should check out my previous VODs. I was making all the drinks from Valhalla. That was a mixed bag of stuff. I'll probably do proper mixology, because something I really wanted to do, which is why I started to get back into streaming, is that I've seen a lot of people in the VTuber space make cocktails. Not all of them are great. To be frank, not all of them, and not all of them have the same level of knowledge and care that I think I could provide. It's cool that people make these cocktails, but like, I could do stuff like, oh, I made the cocktails for these VTubers, I made cocktails for this gacha game, and like, I've done some of that stuff on Twitter, and like, I could totally do that stuff on YouTube, and probably should. But I think more like, the thing I'm more passionate about is like, I want to teach people how to make good drinks, because it's like, I feel like there is a stigma with alcohol that it's like, oh, people only drink it to get drunk, people only drink it because they like to feel cool or whatnot. And it's I can attest to you that that's not it, because I felt the same way. I thought like, oh, all this tastes like fire and burning, why would you ever enjoy this? Beer tastes like trash. Like, and then it turns out, I found a beer I liked. It turns out that like whiskey isn't just fire and burning. If you get good whiskey, like, you open the door to like a whole new world of flavor. And so like, I feel like going so niche into like, oh, I make cocktails for VTubers, that's awesome. Or like, I make cocktails for gacha game characters, that's awesome, that's really cool, that's really creative. And like, there's a bunch of people doing that, including me, if you follow my Twitter. at twitter.com/kazari no natsu. um I I think it would provide more value if I taught people how to make their own cocktails to then be able to spin off into better cocktails. Because in the end, like cocktails are like branching off from like 4 different bases. Like the I would I don't have hard evidence on this. I would need to write a script of some kind, but like there are like 4 different base cocktails that are like very simple, and then just like the hundreds, maybe thousands of cocktails just branch off from each branch, and then each branch has its own branches, and then like you get layers upon layers upon layers, and then you realize how deep the world of cocktails is, but two, how uncomplicated it is. Because ultimately, in the end, it's like 3 ingredients. It's like 4 steps. Like every cocktail is relatively easy. Like it's not like cooking where you have to do this, and this, and the timing exactly right. Like mixology is actually really easy. But like approaching it, knowing how to approach it in a way to properly appreciate it is hard, because of this stigma of like, oh, all it does is get you drunk, and then also all the horror stories of things people do when they get drunk. I'm into mixology not to get drunk. I'm into mixology because this all tastes really good to me, and I found that I learned why it tastes good and how to make it taste good, and how to make a good drink that's so layered, so complicated, and like shockingly complicated. I'm relatively new to this. I've only been doing this for like 1 or 2 years, and like my first ever old fashioned, I was shocked at how complicated that drink is from a flavor standpoint. Like from a making standpoint, it's super easy. It is sugar, bitters, whiskey. However, it brings out so much of the whiskey that like it's like layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of flavor that you don't understand it the first time you drink it, but you notice it. You notice the layers, you just can't explain the layers yet. And then you just need practice. It's like, oh, okay, now I detect the cinnamon note. Now I detect the apple note. Now I detect the peanut note. Now I detect the nutmeg note. And like you learn, you understand right away, even from a drink as simple as the old fashioned, how complicated and how wonderfully interesting and complex all of these drinks are. And then just learning how to appreciate that complexity is a whole new world of flavor. And so I feel like at some point, like, yeah, it's cool to make these themed cocktails. I think what would be even more valuable for people is teaching them how to make basic cocktails, so they know how to diverge from them to make the cool VTuber cocktails for other people, to make the cool gacha game cocktails, to just make their own cocktails that don't have a theme, but they're like, ooh, well, I know this and this go together, and I've never seen anyone put this and this together, but it sounds good. Let me try that. Oh my god, that is good. And yeah, so yeah, that's the whole goal of my that's the whole goal I want to do for my channel now. And yeah, we'll figure out the rest, especially because it's like I can't always be a true like bartender mixology serious teacher mode. I sometimes want to do casual Zatsudan streams or a shotgun 5 beers and have a good time, or maybe just like play a game while making drinks. Like I need to find that balance, basically. Like I want to make cool educational content on stream to teach people, And then I also want to be able to have like this back and forth chat with you guys while doing something casual like shotgunning 5 beers. So, yeah. I'm not actually sure what I want to do next week. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll finally get started on one of those educational things. I know I wanted to get started with something like Is All Rum the Same type of content. I also did promise Shibidi specifically that I would play a Valhalla at some point. That'd probably be good for Filter T, because he the main reason he follows me is because like I got him into Blue Archive, and like Blue Archive is like my favorite gacha game right now. Maybe we could just do an old school gaming stream where it's just us playing Blue Archive. I'm not sure. Shotgunning 5 beers is casual. Maybe not. Maybe 60 milliliters of beer is perhaps a bit much for most people, but it's the idea of having a few beers on the stream, well, having a casual chai is probably not too crazy, but maybe 5 full cans is a little bit much. Yeah, educating people on mixology is a pretty respectable niche, I would say. Yeah, and like the whole reason I'm into it is because of How to Drink, who's I would say probably the biggest mixology. I was gonna say VTuber. He's nowhere near a VTuber. Probably the biggest mixology YouTuber out there, and he made a full living off of this just because he's passionate about drinks, and like he's not even a bartender. He just like loves drinks so much that he taught himself how to mix, and that turned out to be like a really good sort of thing. So yeah, I would. Oh shit! There's still stuff in this one. Yeah, I just really want to. I really want to open people's minds to the idea of mixology, because it's such a cool hobby. It's so cool to be able to do it. It really is satisfying being able to have one of these like delightful drinks and like actually enjoy it, not just do it for the buzz, not just do it because it gets you drunk and it feels good to be drunk, but like legit just sit down and like a hot toddy, just sip a hot toddy and just feel content with life as you just like explore those flavors. Or like drinking a legit Mai Tai, not like the crap they serve you at a hotel that is like just a mix of fruit juices with cheap rum. No, like a legit Mai Tai with a blend of rum, just lime juice and orgeat, and just like that heavenly combination. Or like something as simple as a gin and tonic, and how much it matters what the different gin you put into it. And it's like it's lovely. It really is lovely, just being able to actually enjoy these drinks for what they are and not just because they're alcoholic. And I feel like people miss that, because it's like they think of a cocktail, they think of any alcohol and think it's mostly there for the alcohol, whereas like I don't drink to get buzzed. I drink because I genuinely enjoy the flavor, and so I really want people to do that. And that's another thing about like the whole themed cocktails thing, is that like a lot of people make it to be the same color, to be similar color schemes and similar like specific things related to that VTuber or that character or whatnot. And that's fine, like, and some of those posts blow up. Like I saw someone get like several thousand likes, several thousand views on YouTube doing this kind of stuff. but it's like I I don't just want to make a fancy looking cocktail. I want it to taste great as well. I want it to be like a legit thing that you could go to a restaurant and serve to like thousands of customers and they would enjoy it too. Not just a theme thing that like just looks cool on paper, but it's like, yeah, but I don't really drink alcohol, so I never try that. And then so it's like what that's why like my cocktails, I don't go crazy with like food colorants or like other like fancy stuff, because every ingredient needs to have a meaning for me. Using both color schemes and personalities and flavors will be very interesting for sure. Oh yeah, like two of my proudest drinks are the mint Fantôme chilling memory, which became such a good drink for me that it's just one of my normal drinks. To my knowledge, no one has ever combined absinthe and mint together. And it turns out that's just a godly combination of drinks. And it just happens to turn out that combination of flavors, creates this like cloudy white drink that looks ghostly like mint Fantôme. And then so like I put mint leaves in it, I put like absinthe in it, I put like lime juice, and it's you shake it all together, it becomes this like ethereal cloudy white. And so it was like, color scheme wise, it's perfect for mint Fantôme. As a cocktail, if you knew nothing about mint Fantôme, I feel confident if I serve this at a restaurant, it would be a hit thing. Like, I don't work at a bar. I kind of want to work at a bar someday to see if my concoctions are any good, but like genuinely it's the best cocktail I've ever drank, and I invented it. Like I try not to be arrogant, and in fact like I feel very humbled by like a lot of people who are much bigger VTubers than me, like people who know their shit, know the algorithm, know how to do all sorts of stuff, have way more talent than me. I feel proud enough to proudly say I invented one of the best absinthe cocktails. And like, I'm surprised no one has thought of this, because I looked it up online. No one really mixes mint and absinthe. And so like yeah, when I tried that, it turned out to be very good. And then the second one is the Aru cocktail. If you've ever played Blue Archive, Aru is my favorite character in Blue Archive, and that drink turned out to be absolutely killer. It's like this beautiful combination of like, what did I put in it? I put in like maraschino cherry syrup to make it red. I put like bitters. I put sweet vermouth. I forget what I put in there, but it was like, it turned out perfectly both color wise and flavor wise, because it was like a combination of weird ingredients that just blend together perfectly well into this well blended cocktail. And then it just felt like a very proud moment to like do something off the rails, because obviously like I follow recipes all the time and then tweak it to turn it into something new. That was a cocktail where I legit just like almost close my eyes and like reach for bottles, so just to feel it out, see how it works, and it just turned out beautifully. And like it's almost like nothing I've ever tried before, and it's wonderful. And that's why I want to do. That's why I don't want to specifically do just like, oh yeah, I made the Ceres Fauna cocktail, I made the Petra Gurin cocktail, I made the Pomu Rain Puff cocktail, I made the Mint Fantôme cocktail. I want to teach you how to make basic cocktails like the whiskey sour, like the old fashioned. I want to teach you about the various different types of rum. I want to teach you about the different type. I want to teach you about why you should only ever use 2-to-1 simple syrup and not 1-to-1 and 1.5-to-1. I want to teach you basics of mixology so that you can make your own artwork with alcohol, and like make your own awesome concoctions, as opposed to like, here's my awesome concoction, you can copy my work. No, I want to give you the tools to make your own amazing drinks, because I think that's more valuable to people, especially in the VTubing space. Like, obviously among the mixology world, like, there's a million people doing this. If you want to look it up, there's not a ton of people doing this in the VTuber space. And I feel like the VTuber space needs it, because the VTuber space does feel like they only see alcohol as a means to get drunk, for better and for worse. Like, VTubers get drunk to be silly, or VTubers hate drinking because what it does to people. And it's like, I want to be the one to say, you can drink and actually enjoy the drink. You don't have to drink just to get drunk. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I'm making sense and not just like rambling. So it's more like wanting to educate and interest others on making drinks. Yeah, exactly. I don't just want to make specific drinks for specific characters. I want to give people the tools to make their own drinks, to understand alcohol better, so that they can enjoy alcohol more, as opposed to, so they can enjoy alcohol more, or on its merits, as opposed to a means to get drunk. Like, hell, I drink I drank 5 beers today to get drunk. that was my goal for today. The reason I specifically chose Blue Moon is because I actually happen to like Blue Moon. I'm not gonna drink some shitty Coors. No offense to Coors, that's in my opinion. I wasn't gonna drink some like bombshell thing. I actively like Blue Moon, so I wanted to drink Blue Moon. And I thought it would be funny to shotgun it, because it was, in a way, this was an educational stream too. I taught you a fun party trick of shotgunning beers, because I taught myself how to do it. And so, like, it's like everyone, I want to make sure that every one of my like bar streams has a point. Is the basic things. No offense to Coors. So it's just the first cheap brand I could think of. Like, I honestly like am not I'm not opposed to most bomb shelf drinks. I understand why they exist. I'm just not. I'm too pretentious now to enjoy them. Like, I understand that alcohol is just a social lubricant to some people, and that's fine too. Like, I should probably clarify that too. It's fine also if it's just a social lubricant to you, because like, it does help with that. It's nice to social drink every now and then. All I'm saying is that that's not all there is to alcohol. It's not just a social lubricant. It can actually taste great. Too pretentious. Yeah, I won't lie. When I got into making drinks, I started to feel pretentious, even though like I'm trying not to be, especially like the first 6 months that I started like taking seriously learning how to make learning mixology. It's like I would make this drink, and it's like so complicated and so lovely, and it's like, oh yeah, there's these layers, and it's like the lemon juice interacts with the triple sec, which interacts with the rum, and the tequila rather, and it's like it all blends together so well. But then when you say all of that out loud, it sounds pretentious as fuck. It's like, oh yeah, you're like talking about the nuances and the notes of this little sip of alcohol you drink. So it's like, oh man, you're just drinking it because you think it gets you drunk, and it's like, I know it comes out that way. But I promise you, like, even as a noob, I can detect all these different layers. because it's like when I find Four Roses, for instance, like this is the first like real old bottle I got, because like most of the like $15 to $20 range stuff, all the like super cheap stuff is like generally pretty bad. This is like the first good mid-tier bottle, which is like $20+, like $20 to $30. Like that, it's kind of a marginal step up. It's only like $5 more, but it's a significant step up on the quality. Like it's Four Roses is an amazing bourbon. And then like I made an old fashioned for the first time, and then I could taste all the layers. I didn't understand all the layers, but I could taste all the layers. I was like, oh my god, I'm tasting like 12 different things at once. What's going on? This is so cool. This is so delicious. This is so awesome. And it's like, it's hard to like really be able to explain that without sounding pretentious, because to most people, if you were to just drink this straight out of the bottle, it tastes like fire and burning. $5 worth it. It's this bottle is like $25, but the point is, like, Jack Daniels, which is like a low tier whiskey, would cost like $19, right? So it's like, for just that $5 more, you're getting a much better, or more complex, more delicious, more mixable whiskey. Yeah. I barely notice the alcohol burn anymore because I've gotten used to drinking this so much. But like, for most people, like it still just mostly tastes like fire and burning for them, just because it's hard to be able to get used to the intense alcohol burn of full strength spirits. And then so like it feels super pretentious to talk about, oh yeah, there's all these layers, and like I can taste the alcohol and the cinnamon and the cherries and the dark chocolate, and it's like, no you can't, you're making that up. It just tastes like fire to me. And it's like, I understand where you're coming from because you don't drink as much as I do, and that's a good thing in a weird way, because you shouldn't have to get used to drinking the way I do. How would you say you would get a newbie to enjoy their drink? That's exactly why I want to start this, is because I tried literally one old fashioned, and it blew my mind open. Because the thing is, so once again, like, let's go back to Four Roses. If you're not used to drinking yet, and you try a Four Roses, it will still taste like fire and burning to you. You don't taste the same complexities I can taste yet, because you can't get over the alcohol burn, which is a good thing, by the way. The alcohol burn is your body rejecting the poison you're putting into it. So you feeling the alcohol burn is a good thing. Me being able to ignore the alcohol burn is a little bit dicey for my health. But the point is that, like, there is tons of complexity to this whiskey, and this is one of the basic whiskeys. This is one of the cheaper ones that I can recommend to people, because like, it's still relatively accessible. And the thing about most cocktails is that, let me get these out of the way again. I'm just moving these back and forth. the thing about most of these cocktails is that everything you add to this whiskey is diluting it. So you wash it down with some simple syrup, with just water and sugar. You wash it down with some Angostura bitters. You stir it with ice, and the ice melts into the drink, adding a little more dilution to it and chillness. And it adds cold to it, so that like it neutralizes some of the heat from it. Like I said, an old fashioned is just sugar, bitters, and the whiskey. When you, just by adding those two other things, the sugar and the bitters, it dilutes that to the point that you can't, it neutralizes the alcohol burn, and then so a lot of the alcohol burn, and then so it ends up stretching out the flavor. Like every time you dilute it, it stretches out the flavor. I would say actually another way I can put this actually is, an easier way to put it is with rum. Grog is very simply a water ration. Way back in like the 1600s or something, like back when we had pirates and the trader ships and whatnot, they legit diluted their water with rum in order to make sure it got preserved to kill the bacteria, because refrigeration didn't exist, antibiotics didn't exist. And then so like grog is just basically super duper watered down rum. And then so let's say it's like 1 part rum, 6 parts water. With an old fashioned, diluting it with the sugar and bitters. With grog, diluting rum with just a lot of water. Anything you add to the alcohol stretches it out. So stretches out the flavor profile. So like if I added like one ounce of rum and 6 ounces of water, which is roughly the ratio for grog, it's very watered down, yes, but then that makes it so much more easily accessible, right? So it's, because it's so watered down, it neutralizes a lot of the alcohol burn, and therefore you get a lot more of the flavor coming out. And then so now you can detect, oh wait, actually yeah, I taste like caramel, and now I taste like the banana, the weird banana, and the how does this taste? It's been a while since I've had a Smith & Cross. Yeah, a little bit of weird coffeeness to it too. And then like very slightly old banana, which is actually, sounds weird, is actually pleasant. Yeah, caramel, brown sugar. Yeah, like the point is, like, it's a complicated flavor. It's hard if you can't get past the alcohol burn, or it's hard to detect the other flavors. If you can eliminate the alcohol burn, you just get the flavors, and the more it's diluted, the more you be able to detect the flavors. So it lets you break it so it lets you break into it a bit, yeah, and get used to the subtle flavors. Coffeeness, banana, yeah. There's like all sorts of like little. I always talk about it like taking steps. Like, okay, I get the coffeeness, then I get the slightly moldy banana, then I get the caramel and brown sugar, and then the spices, and then finishing on the like weird banana again. And like that's how it feels to me, is like walking through it. If you listen to Greg from How to Drink, he describes it like an orchestra. It's like, oh yeah, the he would describe it as like, oh, the banana is like the drums, and then and then like the caramel is like the bass, and like he describes it in terms of music. I describe it in terms of like walking. Like it feels like as I'm walking through the flavors, it's like, okay, the first step is this flavor, the second step is that flavor, the third step is this flavor, etc. I heard that taste travels down your mouth, with sweetness at the tongue, spice at the throat, and saltiness at the back of your mouth, or something along those lines. I won't claim to know the science on that. I know like different areas on your tongue specialize with different flavors. I'm not 100% sure about that. But like I know for my personal experience, anytime I drink in certain things, like it follows this weird step-by-step process where it's like, okay, I taste this, then I taste this, then I taste this. Like this is the first few steps is it's like as it goes into my mouth. The next few steps are while it's in my mouth, and then the last few steps is as I'm swallowing it. And then that's how I experience flavor. It might be different for you, but the point is like there's a lot of steps to these good cocktails. Oh, you meant throat. Okay. Yeah. And so yeah, for a noob, I would just say like a very simple cocktail that's spirit forward, like an old fashioned, like a gin and tonic, like a daiquiri, that very heavily features the main spirit, is a good way to learn, because those simple cocktails, a whiskey sour is just sugar, lemon juice, I think. Sugar, lemon juice, and whiskey. Old fashioned, sugar, bitters, and whiskey. Daiquiri, rum, sugar, lime. Margarita, tequila, lime, Cointreau. They're very simple flavors with like modifiers that, while they're strong on their own, bitters is very intensely strong. Triple sec is a very intense orangey flavor, but like they complement the main spirit so well that it's helping you understand the main spirit without being a main cast member. So you're learning that spirit, and sure, it's interrupted a bit by the fact that like you're adding these modifiers, but it's all to help support when it's a spirit forward drink, which is to say like the main thing it does is help you taste the main spirit, whether that be rum, whether that be whiskey, whether that be gin, whatever. All the supporting ingredients, as they say, support it. When you're taking that walk, it's like, oh, the Angostura bitters really complements the cinnamon notes here. And then as it walks, oh yeah, the lime juice really, mixes well with the caramel or something like that. And then it's the sort of thing where it's like a familiar thing like lime juice will help you connect the dots between like one of these subtle flavors within the flavor profile of your really nice whiskey or your really nice rum. And then it just once it all blends together, once you learn how it like connects and intertwines, it becomes like a really beautiful art. Would you say mixology and cooking fall into the same realm, or are they entirely different? Yeah, supporting flavors can really elevate the main taste of everything. Yeah. I would agree with that, because that's a huge thing with the cocktails too. Is like I mentioned, like what's so different between a whiskey sour and a rum sour other than the main spirit, right? Well, whiskey and rum are significantly different, but they have similar modifiers, because the modifiers just bring out more out of each type of thing. I would say it's like in a weird middle ground of baking and cooking, maybe, because like cooking, I think, is very much an art. Like cooking, like you don't have to be precise with any of the ingredients. With cooking, like you're trying to make, let's say, a spaghetti, like as long as you have like a tomatoey sauce, as long as you have like stringy noodles, as long as you have like a protein base, you will have like a pretty satisfactory spaghetti. And then it's just up to you how salty you want it, how you want to spice it, how you want to add to the sauce to make it a little better, how you want to cook it. And then there's like generally a lot of ways to get to a good result with cooking. With baking, it's a science. You are transforming this weird mix of like flour and sugar and yeast and all this stuff to like create a chemical process that's like scientifically molds it into this bread that like is delicious. But then it's like it is pretty strict, because it's like if there's an imbalance, there's going to be something wrong with your bread. And then so it's like it's kind of like a weird science project where like you're trying to get these ratios right, so that like when you put it in the oven, once it's in the oven, there's nothing more you can do with it. It's all about how well you prepped it. And then so it's like there's more strictness to that. I think cocktails falls, so if this is cooking and this is dessert, I think cocktails falls like in the middle, but like closer to dessert, because there's a lot of like chemical processes that come with cocktail mixing, including like density. So there's something really cool you can do with cocktails, is that you can layer cocktails. There's what is it called? Pousse Cafe is a French like, it's not necessarily a shot, but like it would be like a little taller than this. But like what they would do is like they would like meticulously layer every drink. Like, you know how oil and water don't mix, and then so you have like water and then oil, and then so they would be like separate. So like there's a layer of water and then a layer of oil. If all these different drinks have different densities, if you understand densities, you can float them on top of one another. And then so you would have like a layered drink where it's like, let's say, half an ounce of like 7 different drinks, all separated by a layer because they didn't mix together. And that's like a really cool layering effect. And so that's a complete science thing. You need to understand densities in order to make it a proper Pousse Cafe. Or like, say, just the basic sweet and sour mix of like the whole lemon and sugar type thing. I complained a lot during the Valhalla stream that like a lot of the recipes didn't have simple syrup, when simple syrup will balance it out. And that's where it brings it more onto the like, so cooking, baking, that brings it more onto the cooking side, because it's like, okay, you need a little sweetness, much like you need like a pinch of salt to balance out to balance out food. You need a little bit of sugar to balance out cocktails, to like tone down stuff. I didn't know cocktails are pretty specific and scientific, but I guess the chemical processes involved makes a lot of sense. There's literally a textbook on this. So there's like so there's tons of books on like how to be a bartender, how to be a mixologist, and lots of them are quite good. I could suggest you some that might teach you something well. How to Drink, the YouTuber I mentioned, he only recommends 2 books, and obviously he has a lot of books himself, but the reason he only recommends 2 books is because they represent the 2 extremes of mixology. One is like the Old Testament. It's like the very first cocktail book ever written. Like, someone found the first cocktail book, decided to transcribe it, and release it so that people can learn about the first ever cocktails to be written about. And then so this is like the origin of like so many drinks, and it's very good to know the history right from the beginning. And then on the other side of the scale is like what is that? Dave Arnold, I think it's Dave Arnold. Yeah, Dave Arnold, but maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's a guy named Dave Arnold, and he literally wrote a textbook, a legit textbook, like something you buy in college, about like the science of mixology, and like, oh yeah, if you get the pH just right, you can make this drink taste like 2% better because of the saline balance of this and that, and like, oh, you can turn any drink into a frozen drink, like you get those frozen margaritas, but like way better, because if you bring it down to this is the temperature, and then use your ice this way, and then like balance the scales, create your own lime juice acid to do this. And it's like you have the Old Testament of like very imprecise measurements, the very old school origins of so many cocktails, and you have the new school like scientific approach, the 2 extremes as the bookends, and then anything in between. There's tons of good books. There's like Annabelle of Rum, which is a book that teaches you all about rum. There's like The Joy of Mixology, which is another great cocktail book. And it's just like there's tons of books in between. So like it's hard to recommend any book unless you have a specific niche you want to enjoy. But then that's why he doesn't recommend anything other than those 2, because those are the 2 extremes. The old school classic first ever cocktail book, so you know the history, and then the modern science textbook, so you know the science of how a lot of cocktails work, so you understand why certain flavors work and why certain flavors don't. And then everything in between you can figure out on your own, depending on your own interest. And that's why, like, I would say, because like a funny thing that happened with Dave Arnold, actually, this is a hilarious story, is he legit like does seminars where he like goes in front of a crowd and like talks about mixology, like the science of mixology. And he went in front of a crowd one day thinking he was about to disprove pretentiousness about ice, because there's like ways that like bartenders use their ice in their shakers, and then so they'd be like, oh well, here's like, okay, you put like a big bowl of ice and you put a lot of small ice and you put it together and shake it, and then like he thought he was gonna disprove anything about ice. Like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what ice you use, it should result in the same result, because all you're doing is adding chilling and dilution. That's all shaking is. And he ended up proving himself wrong. He did the experiment and found out that like the old way that bartenders do it had a point. They just were never able to properly explain why, and then he figured it out. And it's like, okay, this having a big block of ice and a bunch of small pieces of ice provides the best balance of chilling and dilution, of displacement and dilution. And then so like he that like he's the mad scientist of mixology, because like he realized that like there was scientific backing to like classic bartending stuff. And that's why I lean in towards like mixology is more like baking than it is cooking, because it is more about the science. It is more about like the right ingredients and getting the balance just right on like a fine-tuned level. But also like it's not fully like baking where it's like, oh, you have to follow the recipe or you fucked up. There is room for leeway that pulls it more towards like the cooking end of the spectrum, but it's less like cooking and more like baking. I would assume ice makes quite a big difference. It does. How to Drink actually did this fun thing where he went to Disneyland to try like the alcoholic drinks. He went through there, and there's a drink he loved. He absolutely loved, but he's like, it's held back by the ice though. The ice kind of ruins this drink, even though it's so good. And then people in his comments were like, oh, you're crazy. It doesn't really matter. He made it on his own in his own bar, and then put like a good piece of ice in it, because they're using just like the like mass produced ice where he has fancy ice at home. And like he used one of his fancy crystal clear ice, and it was like so much better. It wasn't getting diluted so much. It wasn't getting like other flavors that much. And then so like his ice actually like having completely clean ice is actually made the difference. Good piece of ice, huh? Yeah, like one of the first things people want is like, if you were to go to your freezer right now, you would find that your ice is like white blocks, right? They aren't crystal clear. They're like white chunks, right? That's because like it doesn't matter how clean your water is. It doesn't matter how much you filter your water. It doesn't matter how clean you keep your fridge. All around us is like 15 pounds of air. That air is freezing with the water inside of the ice and turns it cloudy. So you need to learn how to like set up your ice in a way that like filters out the air in it too. And there's ways to do this for cheap. I can make clear ice at home too. But like you need to know how to freeze your ice in a specific way so that there's no air pockets in it. And then when you do that, by the way, if there's no air inside your ice, not only is it crystal clear and beautiful, it doesn't melt that fast. So it doesn't dilute your drink that much. And that was his point with the Disneyland drink that he thought was really good, was like, it's a really good drink, but it's very quickly becoming worse because it keeps getting diluted by the bad ice that's melting right away. Whereas like if you have crystal clear ice, it melts so slowly that it won't dilute your drink that fast. It has to freeze slowly and let the air escape. Specifically what you need to do is you need to freeze it directionally. So the way it's taught is that if you have a small cooler and you can fit that in your freezer, what will happen is if you freeze that and wait 24 hours. So if you wait 24 hours, what will happen is you will have a block of perfectly clear ice, because that's all the perfectly clear water. And then because of the way the cooler is built, like it's airtight on three sides, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's open on 5 sides, right? So if you freeze it for 24 hours, you will get a clear block of ice that's perfectly clear, and then the rest will just be the unfrozen water. That's the water that still has hella air in it. And then so you just dump that out, and then you chip away at the block of clear ice. Or if you let it freeze all the way, what you would see is like half a block of perfectly clear ice and a half a block of really cloudy ice, like white ice. And then you just chip off the white ice and then you leave the perfectly clear ice. And that's because like the air, because as coolers are a one direction thing, the air can only go one direction, so it's freezing downward. And then so like as the pure water freezes, it's pushing the air downward. Whereas like, because if you didn't put it in an airtight container, it freezes in all directions, it's just gonna trap the air inside. And that's why all your, if you were to look in your fridge right now, all your ice is pure white. If it can only freeze in one direction, like with a cooler, that means that it's the first bit of the first thing that freezes is the perfectly clean water. And then as you get deeper, all the air that got pushed down is now freezing along with the rest of the water. And that's why you get some clear ice and a lot of white ice. And the way to do it even cheaper, if you don't have that much fridge space to fit a whole cooler in there, is if you literally have a coffee mug, like I think I can bring one out. Give me just 1 sec. I'll be right back. Just like any coffee mug, it's insulated on all sides to prevent the heat, right? For your coffee, to keep it hot. In a similar way, it keeps everything cool. And then so like it's insulated on every side. So if you pour water in here, fill it to like almost the top, probably like up to here. What will happen is this much ice will be perfectly clear, and the rest of this will be white. And then so you just chop off the white part, and then this much is perfectly clear ice, and that fits into most of my glasses. Science, baby. Yeah, science. Oh, what is that meme again? I forget. It's a Breaking Bad meme, right? Yeah, Mr. White, science. I never finished Breaking Bad, mostly because it's like, and that was part of the point of the show, but like all the characters were deteriorating and everyone was becoming unlikable, and it was like, I can't stand this show anymore. I know that's the point, but it's sort of like it's painful to watch when everyone's so unlikable. Ugh. Man, that was fun though. I'm not 100% sure what to talk about anymore, and we don't have any more beer. I mean, technically we do, but I don't feel like drinking anymore. I'm not even sure what I want to do next week. I'll figure it out. I'll probably get started on one of my series, so we'll probably do something a little more educational as opposed to so Zatsudan heavy. But yeah, that was fun. I need to stop procrastinating and actually get to work on my Valhalla video, and probably this video as well. But yeah, it feels good to be able to do this. It really feels good to like just be able to chat with you guys and hang out. I'll be quite frank, it's been very lonely in my life lately, and so like I with most streams, as I mentioned, like I feel so nervous about whether the stream will be good, whether like it will turn into good content, whether like people will enjoy it, whether people will come and watch at all. But like this stream, I intentionally made just with the intention of just wanting to talk to people, just wanting to vent, just wanting to like drink a little bit and have a good time being able to chat. So I wanted to make more time for like Zatsudan style content like this, and then just like, yeah, yeah, it it was nice to be able to do this, and it's very comforting. So thank you for joining me. I still don't know what I'm gonna do next week, but I feel like we can do something fun together. Maybe it is just another Zatsudan. Who knows? It doesn't always have to be serious around here. Um, but yeah, there's not much more to say other than thank you so much. Oh yeah, I guess I should conclude. What did I learn from shotgunning in drinks? It's really hard, not for the reasons you think. It's really hard but not for the reasons you think. Beer doesn't have that much alcohol content compared to like full strength spirits, but it's just the fact that like you're swallowing so much liquid at once, you're swallowing so much carbonation at once that it's difficult to choke down and you can't breathe for a few seconds. So it's a very harsh experience of just trying to chug down so much beer all at once before you're able to even breathe. The lesson of the day: shotgunning 5 cans of beer is hard. So true, mate. So true. Oh man. Thank you so much for chatting with me, Hansel. Oh, I really appreciate it. It's been fun. It was nice that new viewers came along this time. So I appreciate you coming by. Yeah, it sounds harsh for your throat. Oh my god, you don't know the half of it. Unless you've shotgunned the beer before, then yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a new experience for me. My eyes are opened. Anyways, I have a lot of cleaning up to do. I spilled a lot of beer doing this too, so I have a lot of work to do cleaning up. So I'm gonna have to get on that. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next week.